Hey, it's Mr. A. What's up, guys? Just getting ready to do some drawing. I'm working on this drawing up here on the screen, if you can see. This is the photo I took, but here's a few more hand drawings I've been working on. If somebody can hop in the chat and just make sure that they can hear me, that would be great. Give me a few minutes to get set up here, but if you're back at the old school, give me a shout out. I purposefully timed this one to make sure that you guys would be out of school if you still have questions. I've gotten a lot of stuff from people. But for those of you who are just joining, this is Mr. A, or Art with Anderson, whatever you want, depending on when you joined up. But today I'm just going to be drawing, chatting a little bit. Some of these hand drawings are being done for an assignment that I have, which might answer some questions about what I'm up to. All right. Well, so again, I'm Mr. A. Now I'm known by Art with Anderson. I have an Instagram of the same name with underscores in between. I'll write it down for you guys later. But I'm working on this drawing right now based on this photo reference you guys see. But these are some other pieces. I did this one in watercolor yesterday. And then this one in a similar way. So this is gray paper. It's toned. And I was able to use not only these new Stedler Lumograph black pencils, which are like way darker than regular pencils, but they still blend pretty nice, and then also some white charcoal. So if you guys have any like questions, or you're just dying to, you know, relive the past if you were in my class before, I do miss the classroom, but I'd be happy to kind of go over why I ended up leaving, and if you can't guess already, we'll just, you know, whatever. But it just depends if people feel like chatting and stuff. But all right, let's see. Just before I get started, I'm going to test this out. This is kind of my first one on YouTube here. All right. So we got a question straight off the bat. Why did I quit teaching? Isn't this supposed to be YouTube, man? Like, you know, gotta like sit through a 25-minute video, tell you what it's all about. Do you like my clickbaity title? I learned that from you guys, by the way. So I'll get right into it. I'll tell you why. I mean, I've been spending a lot of time telling you guys to go and like become artists and stuff. And for the longest time, I was kind of like slacking off. So the thing is I kind of just took my own advice, and I finally quit to actually go and become a full-time artist. So since you guys have saw me last, essentially I've been hired to do like these crazy projects, especially I just got back from Denver. This company flew me out to Denver essentially to do a mural over 3 days. So like they paid for everything, and like I got paid for it, so it was pretty amazing, even for like what I expected. You know, I was definitely freaked out when I left. But yeah, I'm sorry I left you guys hanging at the end of the year. It just kind of came up, some opportunities, and I had to peace out. But the thing is I've never been happier. But hopefully everything's cool with you guys. So yeah, what I've been doing though, check this out. I've been taking this class as like at university, and it's for like biological illustration. So I've been doing a lot of like crazy stuff, like drawing from models, but it's more related to scientific illustration. So that's why I'm doing these projects here. Studying more like anatomy, getting proportions right for drawing actual hands and stuff. So yeah, if you have any other questions about what I'm up to, I'd be happy to do it. Like the other thing is I went to Spain this summer, and I got to do a bunch of painting. I don't know if you guys checked out my Instagram, but there was a bunch of stuff that I did over the summer. It was super fun. I got to go to Spain for like 2 weeks. Funny story is, like, I ended up there because I missed my flight from Toronto to Chicago, and it was cheaper to fly to Spain than it was to fly to Chicago. It was going to be like $600 to fly back to Chicago, so I was like, I guess I'm going to Spain. But yeah, Sebastian, thanks for the question, man. Hope everything's good. But yeah, so a little bit more about this drawing. You notice that I set up everything in terms of value. What I'm doing is trying to use, since this paper is already gray, if you notice on the picture over here, thing is like, it's actually pretty light over there. So I'm going to be using a white charcoal pencil to shade that stuff in. So we can try to put a little bit in there, see where we're at. Let's try it out. So I'm just lightly going in. So another thing you guys could do is, definitely comment with any like ideas for videos if you are still interested in art. Is there something that your current class isn't getting you that you want to learn? Or something that's always confused you? I'd be happy to make something. So you can see how this is already like popping out a little bit more. And that way I don't have to go as dark sometimes on the other stuff. I'd be curious if anyone's watching, if you've made any artwork since the class. Or if there was any like stuff that you enjoyed the most that was like the coolest. I don't know. I'll make a video out of anything that I didn't already do. But notice how this is like really popping this stuff out against the darker background. But what I really like about the gray paper that I've been learning about is that you just have to do less work, which is kind of nice. Like you didn't have to shade this thing in and smudge it all around. So the one thing that I want to talk about a little bit is like what are the plans for the channel. It's been, basically almost a year since I left teaching, and I was busy kind of starting my business and making contacts and trying to survive off of this new lifestyle. But you'd be surprised, like I've just completed another like commission for portraits. So if you guys know anyone who wants a portrait, maybe we could do like a portrait giveaway or something. Maybe comment if you'd be into that. But right now I'm just trying to find the lightest lights in this picture, and you can kind of see me doing that, but it's turning out a little intense. Might have to get darker even in here, we'll see. So for the channel, I'm basically, I'm kind of torn between like YouTube and Twitch. Like obviously, YouTube was my first love here, but I just don't know, like, does streaming work better? It's definitely easier to make streams than it is to like make those edited videos. It just takes too long. So I don't know. Would people watch if I was on Twitch? Who knows? I heard from a friend who's also a professional artist that she has a stream that works pretty well, but I don't know. But so my plans for the channel are like I'm basically doing art every day. And I'm thinking of just basically just giving you guys a glimpse into what I do every day. And as that turns into, you know, somebody has like a question or something, I can certainly like build out special topic videos if people really want that stuff. Or, you know, you just like tune in, do whatever. But the one thing I will say is like I learned that Instagram is definitely one of the easiest things to maintain because it doesn't take as much effort, but the trick is you still got to do the artwork. So I think I'm just going to really focus on doing, you know, trying to do like 1 or 2 streams a week, but also just keep posting that finished artwork to Instagram because I just feel like that's where people end up seeing it. But I don't know, I guess maybe I could do some reviews of materials or something, or do like a series on a particular technique. You know, if you can think of something that you would want to see, definitely comment with it. So right now, can you guys see where I've been adding some of this light, whereas before I was just doing the dark? What it makes this stuff do is it looks relatively light. But one of the things that I've realized about my drawing is I wasn't paying as close attention to some of the value changes in these pictures. So if you look like around here, compared to the picture, it's definitely almost pure black over here. This is definitely not dark enough, but I also don't want to lose detail right in here. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Let's see if this light will help. Hopefully that helps you guys. So I'm going to switch over to this 8B. I've mentioned these briefly, but these are the Mars Lumograph Black pencils. If you've ever had an issue with drawing with pencil and it gets like, you press really hard and then it gets really shiny and you can't get it any darker, it's really annoying. So these are like a flat black and they don't do it like that what they call burnishing. It doesn't get super shiny. Like this is pressing really hard over here. That's how dark you can get this thing. Let me just get my sharpener. All right. We're going to darken up some of these shapes. Everything's falling apart here. All right, here we go. Let's start with this down here. I'm going to define the bottom of this thumb a little bit. But I don't want to make it an outline. It's really more about down below here. I need to really just darken this up. Now what's crazy about working in pencil is that using a blending stump will actually darken it quite a bit. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. This is already pretty dark. And I also need to darken up over here to make it feel like that's turning in space. So, hey, Master Architect. Who's that? I'm trying to remember who that is. Hopefully things are going well. I'm trying to remember. Are you in high school now, or are you still you still in middle school? Miss you guys. It was a fun time. I hope you guys had a good time as well. Honestly, about this time, I'd probably be, kind of giving up on taking teaching too seriously, and we'd be playing a bunch of that. I don't know if you guys ever got to play that game we invented. Remember with the ping pong balls and the spray bottles, spray soccer? That was the best. Like I said, I like to have fun. You're probably wondering, like, oh yeah, so Mr. A, you're probably doing this whole art thing. What's the deal? Like, what do you do every day? Well, you're kind of looking at it. It's pretty awesome, not gonna lie. It's hard work, but I've been telling people it's kind of like riding a motorcycle or something. It's like super fun, but kind of super like risky. But because it's like risky and dangerous, I don't know, you feel like more alive. I don't know if that describes it. Whereas like teaching was great, but you get a paycheck every month and you kind of like lose motivation to like push yourself really hard. And that's one thing that I noticed once I quit is like I couldn't count on that paycheck every month. And that really changes your attitude when you're like, oh, I just want to like lay in bed a little longer, but now it's like, boom, I'm up and at 'em. Let's see. So, also I'd be interested if anyone jumps on. Be sure to like give me an update if you moved on to the high school or whatever. Hopefully the art classes are over there are pretty awesome. Or if you're working on something cool, let me know. Or if you just want to like have an idea for a video, like I'm kind of rusty. I realized that I was like trying to edit some stuff the other day, and it just takes a long time. But oh, the other thing I want to say is a lot of people like reached out via Instagram and sent me these really nice messages. I apologize, I didn't respond directly. That's mainly because like I can't to be professional. Like, I'm sorry, but it's just how it is. Like, I can't be like having a conversation online with former students beyond just like what I'm doing right now. That's why I wanted to do it. If you guys had questions, but I am alive and well, and I'm growing. I'm doing what I love, and I hope you guys at least like, you'll be like, oh, I knew Mr. Anderson when he was a middle school teacher getting, made fun of by kids. Anyway, I had a good time. And like I said, if you feel like, I got a couple comments about like, oh, I'm sorry I was so like rude or whatever. It's like, it's all good. Everyone goes to middle school and they figure it out eventually. But let's see. The one thing that I miss about teaching is just like there's such like a good energy about it. You got to be like on the ball every day. You got to be like ready to start no matter what, which isn't always fun, but it definitely kicks your butt, forces you to have everything ready, because the class starts whether you're ready or not. The other thing I will say about teaching, if anyone ever was like, oh man, I want to be an art teacher, I want to be an artist, teaching is a great way to like pay your bills while you practice making art or just get better at it. I mean, but the thing is like I still feel like I need to get better at it. It's just like a never-ending process. So it's two-sided coin. Like, don't worry too much about it. Like, don't undersell yourself. But the other part is like, you know, kind of have your ducks in a row. Like, it took me 9 years of teaching, and it never is easy to quit a secure job and go for it and do something unknown, but honestly, it's pretty fun. And for the same reason like art class is fun, is because it's like kind of, there's potential for it to be kind of funny and like chaotic. Like, don't get me wrong, I love that stuff, but especially some of you guys would tell some really funny jokes that I was just not allowed to laugh at because, you know, I was working. And I know you guys know that. But, yeah, there were a couple jokes that were told that I probably would have laughed at out loud. I swear, I'm a responsible person. I just, it's whatever. But, so the crazy thing is like, nowadays, I'm basically drawing every day, but half of my time is like spent finding new projects. So I mentioned this one project where I got flown out to Denver. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like a celebrity. Like, this company paid me to, it's like a travel company, so they basically fly people all around the world and give them like tours. But I really enjoyed working for them. I did these like, I did one in Chicago and one in Denver, and it was pretty awesome, not gonna lie. But it was like 3 days of hard work, and I made these giant murals. You can see some of it on my Instagram, but if you haven't checked it out, it's Art with Anderson, except there's underscores in between. I'll have to like put it in the channel. I still haven't even updated the, what do you call it? Thing over here, the logo. But I don't know. Maybe I should just keep it. I was all like, oh, well, I can't be called Mr. A. People need to take me seriously now. I remember, I can't remember who it was, but there was some kid who just, like, I was like frustrated or something. And they were just like, I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I was like really frustrated. Somebody just said, good, why don't you go, why don't you go live in your mom's basement? I was like, oh, dang. It's a little mean. So just, if you're ever thinking about being mean to your art teacher, just remember, they're pretty chill most likely. They're just doing their job. You know, they're happy that you like art, but if you treat it like a joke, you know, that's gonna be tough for you to get by in that class. I feel like I should just change the name of this video to like Confessions of a Middle School Art Teacher, like, or How to Survive Middle School Art Class. I don't even know how this is looking. I feel like on the video it looks a little bit different than it does for me. Oh, so right now, do you see how it's kind of like grainy in this picture here? I'm gonna get out a blending stump and we're gonna try to smooth that stuff out and see if we can really get this thing to pop. Those of you who remember, still drinking that iced coffee black. It's too good. Keeps me going. Okay, so when I say blending stuff, I'm thinking of one of these things. And I like to use circular movements because I'm not trying to spread this stuff out. I want to just kind of mush it into the paper a little bit. The other thing is you might notice that this drawing is a little bit darker than some of than the picture itself. And that's okay. Like sometimes as an artist, you have to decide. Like you don't get, when you're drawing with a material, you only get like a certain number of like lights versus darks. And sometimes you have to play around with them to get that stuff to pop out. Like don't be afraid to own what you're doing in a way that's going to be slightly different than the photo. You're not, beholden to this thing. It's not your master. Do you see how this almost darkens up wherever I was shading? I don't know. Alright, so it also smooths out the texture. So just keep in mind, especially if you pick up some of these Mars Lumograph Black, they're pretty awesome. But they can really get dark if you need them to. It's a great thing for us. So one other thing I've noticed now that I have like full time to focus on art. Well, first of all, the big thing to think about is if you ever think about becoming an artist, remember you still have to sell. You need to have a plan on like where you're gonna get money. Okay, and for a long time my plan was, oh, I'll be a teacher, right? And then I get the summers off. And if you guys didn't know this, I used to have an art gallery that I ran, during the summers, and I lived in a storefront space. So you got to be willing to do some creative things that like pay the bills. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that's the reality of being an artist. A lot of people think like, oh, it's going to be impossible to make money. It's not going to be impossible, but it will be hard. Like if you don't have something, like you can't just be somebody that'll be like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that because I'm above it. You got to be flexible. You got to be willing to try, take some risks. Sometimes you might even need to like be straight up honest with somebody. Like, look, I've never done this, but I've done this, this, and this, and it's similar. I can make this happen for you, and here's the price. But what I've learned is everything takes at least twice as long as you think it's going to. Especially because you're like, well, if I give them a bad product, then like they're not going to recommend me to somebody else. So you, like everything you do, like the pressure is on. You can't just like show up and be like, oh yeah, I gave it my best shot. It's like, no, if you like start something and it's just like not good enough, you kind of gotta like be your own editor, make this stuff like highest quality. You can't just like let garbage go out the door. So if I ever seem like super serious, like that's another reason I ended up like deciding to quit, is because like, in middle school it's different. Like it's not like professional art level stuff. And I just wasn't getting the practice that I needed to really take my art to the next level, because I was spending time like planning lessons and kind of trying to control the classroom and talk to parents and give feedback and all this other stuff. But like now I just basically it's simpler. It's a little bit more stressful sometimes, but the thing is, it is simpler. It's like, yo, can I do this, and how well can I do it, and how much can I charge? But I've done like so many more portraits in these last in this last year basically since I quit. Like I feel much better about this. Like all these things, like drawing with black and white, I'm getting much stronger in the way that I kind of show value. Value meaning, light versus dark. Notice how I'm not using my fingers. I just did for a second, but using a blending stump takes away the problem with using your fingers, which is putting the finger oils in to the paper, which oftentimes really like mess with the way that you want to draw. Like you'll notice sometimes at the end there'll be like these fingerprints that just show up other places. You never like smeared it. You basically just ended up with extra like graphite powder sticking to the oils, and it's like a perfect fingerprint. So I'm getting pretty happy with this right now. Move my iPad here. I'm not that dissatisfied with it. There's definitely some stuff going on. I still feel like this is too dark compared to this. But I think it's actually good. I need to make this darker. You can pull some of the stuff out here. So I'm going to do, it's called like a lift technique. So we're really going to mess with the shadow balance. I guess, yeah, this is definitely the darkest. But if you look at the photo, you know, this side of the fingers is not as dark as in here. So I think we are good. But I think it might be too dark in too many areas. So I'm going to use a combination of my eraser, my stick eraser like this, and a kneaded eraser. Right, so make sure your kneaded eraser is clean. You just kind of twist it up. Not gonna lie, I'm enjoying the streaming thing. And I hope you guys are enjoying it, or at least makes sense for you guys. But alright, I'm just gonna turn on my iPad again so I can see the screen. Alright. I don't know if you can see this. Oh, Jesus. This is what I'm focusing on right here. My Wacom tablet is falling into my space right now. Alright, so what I'm going to use is this as a drawing tool to lighten up some spaces that have kind of gotten too dark. What I kind of knew a little bit about, but didn't really pay too much attention to, is the darkest part of a shadow is like in the middle. So using like slightly lightening up, not too light, but lightening up some of the places that are technically in shadow can be a really helpful way of balancing these things out. They look a little bit more real. So you can see that this thumb really goes back into distance, but I'm showing some of the folds here. Remember, the paper is gray, so I don't have to like do everything. It's kind of nice. I can always put some like brighter white over here if we feel like we need it. But I feel like this edge here needs to be lightened up. And you could use this eraser here, but the kneaded eraser is kind of cool because you can shape it into whatever shape you want.